Hey guys, so welcome to this new tutorial video that will walk you through how to install our new Pixel Perfect Pro LED template creation software, and it's also available for Windows now with a few new features compared to our old Pixel Perfect LED version 2 that you see here on the website. So first, let's start by going to RedDotLogics.com, and we're going to browse to software. And as you can see right here, all new Pixel Perfect Pro for Mac and Windows is right up here. The Pixel Perfect LED version 2, this is the older one. This is only available for Mac. And we had quite a bit of request to make this software available for PC as well, so we had to completely reinvent the wheel and create a whole new platform that we could work on for both Windows and PC. So let's go ahead and check out the new app now. You can see right here we have a download link for Windows and download link for Mac. So we're going to go ahead and click on Windows. Once you click on it, it's going to download it. I have already downloaded, of course, in my downloads folder. And I have also gone ahead and extracted that file. I'm going to go ahead and delete this second file off. Once you extract that file, you're going to see this Pixel Perfect Pro version 1.0.01 right now. If you double click on that, that should go ahead and start off your installer. If it does not start it off, if a Windows gives you some sort of an error from unknown publisher, just click on more information and click on run anyways. This should go ahead and start the installation. Go ahead and agree to the terms. If you want to read all the terms, they are available here. And that's pretty much it. So once you're done with installation, it's going to bring you to this new URL, which is RedDotLogics.com/rl to request a license. You could either do it on here, or you could do it from our previous page that we were on at RedDotLogics/ppp. And this has instruction for both Windows and Mac. So leave this page open for now. I'm just going to minimize it. First thing you want to do is go ahead and launch the Pixel Perfect Pro software. So as soon as you launch it, you're going to get this pop-up on it saying place a valid license file into this directory right here that you see, and your hardware ID is already placed on your clipboard. So we do require hardware ID in order to get you a license key that is valid up to a certain amount of days. So once you open that software, it's already copied here. So if you just come here where it says place your hardware ID here, right click and do paste, and there it is. You do want to use your real email address because you're going to receive the license file on that email address. You should let us know if it's for Mac or PC, so we can give you the correct instructions for that. And then an invoice number. Invoice number again is very it's not really required, but it is definitely needed because it is going to tell us how long you have purchased that software for. If you don't tell us your invoice number, then we're going to have to email you back and try and find out that information, which could delay a process of you getting your license. And as you can see, you can't use the software without a license, so you must give us this in order for us to expedite that. Just go ahead and type in some whatever the calculation number ends up being for you, and submit. And as soon as you submit that, you're gonna get the thing right here saying your request for the license has been sent successfully. Please allow 48 hours. I'm gonna go into my inbox since I have already received one. So here's my license file. Go ahead and download that. And you can see it's just downloaded into my downloads folder. So now, first thing we want to do is, if you have the software open again, it will tell you exactly where that file needs to go. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this directory first. So open up your folder, and we're going to go into this PC and a C drive. So once you're in a C drive, it's telling you to go to user, which in my case happens to be a Pixel. So we're going to select that, and then we're going to go into app data. Now you may or may not see this app data. If you don't see it, you want to go to view and show hidden items. Like, see, if I hide the hidden items, I don't see the app data folder. So you want to go ahead and click on that. App data will be shown. Then you want to go into local and pixel perfect folder right here. And then I'm going to open up another folder by hitting Command N on my keyboard. You can also browse to your downloads folder from here. So once you're in here, I have my PPP license file. Go ahead and copy that file in here, and that's all you need to do. And that's it. Go ahead and click OK. It's going to close your software, restart your software. And once you restart your software, you can see that dialog is no longer there anymore. The software is intended to use in a full screen mode on both Windows and Mac. So to get the best out of it, go ahead and maximize your window. In this part, we'll go over the whole user interface first of all before we can jump into the technical details of it. So this is a new UI that we have created. You could zoom in and out of your actual viewing area. The viewing area is accommodated by or defined by this white border line that you see around it. So if I was to change my raster size, which by default it opens in 1920 by 1080, to let's say something slightly bigger to 3840, and then hit enter on your keyboard, and you can see it just completely just doubled up on the width. Same thing will happen with the height if we were to go ahead and make it 2160. Oops, sorry. Hit enter, and you can see that expand as well. So now once you make that bigger, your zoomability is gonna take an effect a little bit, but just only make that raster big as you really need it to be. So we have 6 windows that open up here. So as you can see, the screen info, it basically contains all of the information that is needed for your LED wall. The size, the pixel pitch, the height, and the width. That's one of the newer things that we've added in here, and we'll walk through that in a little bit. Then you have colors palette. You have labels palette. So labels, as you can see right here, it's labeled screen 1, width is 1024 by 640. You have your offset label at 00, and then you have your info string down here at the bottom, which shows that you have 8 columns by 5 rows, total 40 cabinets, resolution is blah blah blah, and your aspect ratio of the screen is whatever it is. So once that's all controlled by the labels, then you have your power information here, and you have your data information here. So all of these palettes you can close and reopen as you need them, if you need more space on your on your screen. So right here in Windows, you have Control Shift 4 through 8 that should be able to control all of your palettes. So I'm just hitting Control Shift 6, 7, 8, and you can see all of them go on and off. So you can, using those keyboard shortcuts, or you can actually click here. If it's showing, it'll hide it. If it's hiding, it'll show it. So that's all under Windows menu. Then up here in the top section, you have your open project, save project, and save image. Save image will save it in PNG file, which is perfect for any of your media servers that you'll be using this with. On the right hand side, on the top and bottom, you have 2 different sections. So the top section is your presets. And as you can see, I have quite a few presets built in here. And they're basically just a standard 2.6 mil, 2.9 mil, 3.9 mil, 4.8 mil, 5.9, 7.9, 8.9, and 10 mil. Now, this may depend on the LED products that you own. You may not want some of this, you may want to add some more, and we'll walk through that later on. Down here is the area that we'll be working with. As you can see, there's only one screen showing right now. There's only one layer open. And you can have a clone current layer basically, you can add a layer, you can delete a layer, or you can draw a current layer only. This box by default is checked, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. So now that we're done with this, here you have your layer controls up top as well, the same buttons that we have at the bottom right corner. That will show add screen layer, add image layer, add a current layer, or clone a current layer, and a delete current layer. In the view, you have shortcuts for almost every aspect of this functions. You can toggle them on and off using shortcuts if you really wanted to. You can use the Stream Deck with it, obviously, to send keystrokes in order for you to turn some things on and off as well. And we'll look at that in a whole another tutorial. For now, let's see. So right now we have a screen info. Our offset is at 0, 0. So if I was to change my offset on the x-axis, you can see that's shifting in. This is my y-axis, which is going to shift down. This is the size of the panel. Each panel of the LED screen is right now 128 by 128, which is usually 3.9 mil screens in standard 500 by 500 millimeter sizing. Let's say if it was double panels and we wanted to use 256 in the height, you can see that just doubled up. And then screen columns, let's say our screen is 10 columns wide, and let's say it's only 3 columns tall. So once you look at that, we know our panel width is 500 millimeter, panel height should be 1000 millimeter. And that's something that you should really keep an eye on when you're making a double panels, because when you show the size in meters or feet, that's really gonna take an effect. So as you can see right now, it's 3 meters tall on the height right here. If I was to leave this at 500, visually you have it at 256 pixels, so it's gonna double that up. But if I leave that at 500 millimeter, you can see it's only showing 1.5 meter. So keep an eye on this, as it could sneak up on you at some point. Then you have an option to now do the first column as a half column or a last column as a half column. Usually this is not really needed, but there is some custom applications where people have used it. For another application where people are using half panels and full panels together, and your calculation wise it adds up being, let's say, 3.5 panels. It's 3.5 meters tall screen. So whether you use the half a column screen on the top or bottom, it will let you determine that here. If you don't have either of them checked, obviously it's going to be all full panels, but if you had a 3.5, you want to make your screen 4 panels tall, and then select one of them to be half, and that will give you 3.5 meters of screen. Then your border width, this is in pixels. I like to normally keep this in white border, so that way it draws up nice 1 pixel border or 2 pixel border around the entire LED panels. If you want, you can change this to whatever you like. It'll just make it thicker or whatever. You can change the color of it. So the color picker is something else, again, something entirely new that we've designed in here. That will help you pick better colors throughout your whole process much easily. If you wanted to get rid of your borders, just uncheck that box. And I'm going to go back to 1 pixel, and I'm going to show pink border for now. Then circle with the X. This is the circle with the X right here that you're looking at. You can just check or uncheck that if you don't need it. Again, same thing with the width of the border, so you can actually make it thicker or thinner depending on your application. Cabinet ID is something that a lot of people have been using lately. It helps with troubleshooting. So we have 2 options for that. One is going down, one is going sideways. So the difference is that one that's going sideways goes A1, A2, A3, A4 in a horizontal pattern. If you click on this one, it will start at A1 and go in a vertical pattern. Again, this is a size for the pixels, so if you want a bigger pixels or a bigger name on it, you can do that. Or if your pixel size is smaller, you can do that. Same thing with the colors again. You can change any color you want. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. And that's everything that's in the screen information. Now you have label information here. So in the label, you can see this will toggle on and off your offset up here in the top corner. I'm gonna uncheck all this off so that way you guys can see it better. This will enable your offset on the top right corner, bottom right corner, and a bottom left corner. A lot of people like using these things to tell them where the next screen is or whatever, so it really helps. I normally only like to use one, just the top right corner, and everything else should just line up. Then you have your layer name, which is screen 1 right now. You can change that name obviously from right down here, so if you wanted to call this DJ boot screen, typo. Then you have layer size in pixels. Obviously you want to see that if you're sending it to any of the VJs. Layer size in meters. If you are not in America, usually everybody uses meters. If you are in America, however, people like to use feet. So we get rid of the meters, and you can show how big it is in feet and inches. And that pretty much breaks it down to the point to our 16 feet, and it's 4.5, almost 5 inches of screen there. Then you have your power. So power string will show up on the top of the name here to try and distinguish between the two. That one will be shown in a fashion where you can see it's 41.99 amps at 110 volts at 3-phase. Now everyone in US should always use 110 volt. Even though your SACO is labeled 220 volt, your voltage coming into your distro is still 110 volt per phase on 3-phase distros. If you're in Europe or anywhere usually outside of US, 220 is your best bet because you are getting 400 volt on your per phase. You're getting 220 volts, so your SACOs doubled up would be 240 volt. 3-phase or single phase, so if you change it to 1-phase, obviously your amp count is going to go up. When you're looking at it 3-phase, that amperage is per phase, and watts. So watts is what is determined by your power supply on the actual LED screen. If you take one of your panels off and take it apart, you should see a power supply. Power supply should have the rating on what is the maximum wattage that is used per panel. If not, ask your manufacturer and they'll be able to give you this number. And this is what you want to put in here. So if it shows 250 watts, then go ahead and enter in 250, and that will calculate how much load this screen is going to take based upon that. And it will also show you total power usage up here. If you don't want to show the power string in the screen, but you still want to know how much it is, it'll still show you at the bottom of this that total power is 52.49 amps per phase, since it's 3-phase. If it was a single phase, it is 90 amps on the whole system. So that's that. And then we have an info string all the way at the bottom, which is very helpful in most case scenarios. You can see that this shows 10 columns wide, 3.5 rows, 40 cabinets total, and you have resolution of 1280 by 896, and that's the amount of pixels you're using in that whole thing. And then your aspect ratio is 1.43. Another thing now we have left here is a data flow diagram. So data flow diagram is something that we pioneered from day one on our software, and a lot of other softwares have since tried following this. This gives you a pixel limitation, and this is set for 8-bit at 60 Hz refresh rate, which is what Novastar uses in most case scenarios or any other manufacturer really. And you can change this pixel limit number to accommodate your needs. But this by default 65/360 is exactly what is needed at about 80% use. And that's what the manufacturers recommend. So you can select your pattern. You're starting up here on the top at P1 and going around, or you can start on the other side of the screen, or you can start on the bottom of the screen. Same thing, bottom right. Then this is going to be starting on top, but it's going vertical. I'm going to shut off our offset so we can see P1 there. Same thing flipped, and then this is starting at the bottom going vertical, and then this is starting at the bottom right. So, and then this is your line width. So if you wanted to make it thinner or thicker or whatever. The P1, P2 are labels that are made for your text. Also will help your engineer to know exactly where that cable goes, since we call it primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, whatever primary numbers are. And then you have a return signal or reverse signal, which is indicated by R1, R2. Unfortunately, we didn't allow users to change these names because it could get very complicated, and rather than that, just try and keep it standard to where it's just P1 through whatever is your primary numbers, and then R1 through whatever is your return numbers or reverse feed numbers. That's for one screen. So now what happens when you add another screen to the pixel map? So let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and clone one of my screens. So let's say if I added a 4.8 mil wall. So as you can see, the back wall just completely blanked out almost everything from it. So that way it's not disturbing you on what you're doing with this current layer that is selected. If I was to select this other layer, it'll let me know what layer I'm working on. So this is a layer on the top. So let's say this screen happens to be 10 wide and 6 tall. And now I'm gonna add let's make it interesting, make it 20 by 10. So as you can see, this started off at P3 because the other screen is using P1 and P2 right here. And if this is getting too complicated for you guys, you can always just uncheck this box and it'll drop all of the screens at the same time. But as you can see now, if I select this layer, I can't see my first layer. So I'm going to change the offsets to put them right next to each other or something. And the best way to do that is, let me show you this. So we have added a calculation function in all of these fields right up here. So if you don't know what your offset is going to be like back here, so I know this screen is 20 wide. It's also showing you the resolution right here at the bottom, 2080 width. So I could just select this and type in 2080. And it'll snap up right exactly where it needs to be. Or let's say we go back and put it at 0. Right? Now I know that this tiles that I just added on top layer, they're 104 by 104 and they're 20 wide. So if I was on here, I could just take 104 times 20, enter, and it will end up exactly where it needs to be. You could do the same thing if you're trying to double up the height on the screens. For example, this 256, if I wanted to go back to 128, I could do divide by 2. And it'll be 128. So in any of this fields right here, you could do plus, minus, multiply, and divide. So it becomes much easier for you to calculate your next move and where that screen needs to end up. As far as the data label goes, as we were showing, obviously it's going to continue on every screen you add in here. So if I was to add another screen, let's say this one, I'm going to label my iMag 1 or iMag stage right. And then if I wanted to duplicate this screen now, I could just go ahead and click clone screen since I have iMag left now. stage left. Alright, so now the stage left is sitting on top. Obviously I need to move the screen down, and I know that screen is 10 cabinets tall, so all I'm gonna do is 10 times 104, so I don't even have to do that calculation myself. And let's say now I want to change the color to indicate that that's a separate screen. So I could either select a color from here, or if you wanted to add more colors, you can keep adding as many colors as you like. And the best part is when you're selecting a color right here, you see the pick button that's changing color. That's showing you a preview of what color you have selected basically in that palette. And if you were to delete colors, it'll keep deleting one at a time. If you just add one more, it'll keep repeating this pattern. And you can do that on any of them. You can add as many colors as you really like. I like to keep a single color, so that way it automatically tints it out for you and it looks very professional. So that way we have two screens now. Again, you can see your labels P3 through P6 and P7 through P10. Now let's say if I wanted to use P3 on my stage left screen and not my stage right screen, all you have to do is change the order of your layers. So basically if I was to take this layer, that's stage right, and push it up top, it gets the least priority. So now it goes port 1 and 2 is being used on this bottommost layer, which is P1 and P2. Then port 3, port 4, port 5, port 6 is being used on the second layer. And then the top layer gets the highest numbers. And this is how you actually change the order of your layers here if you needed to. Just use this top and bottom down arrow keys to move them around. Another thing we're going to look at is adding, right here, if you click on a plus, you can add an image or add an LED screen. So if you add an image, this is used for logos. I don't know if I have one in here. Let me see, actually I might have it on my I'm just gonna take one of the pictures I have here. I don't know, just random something. Just assume that this is your logo. But if you bring the picture in, obviously it's gonna bring in the whole picture. It's gonna cover up your entire whatever you have done. You could hold down Control key on your keyboard, and this will give you the option to resize this into a smaller size. So if this was your logo that you're trying to put on a screen, and you can also hold down Control key to move it around where you want it. So if you wanted to cover up my RedDotLogics logo, you could do that and place it on top of that. This is a trial version. Every software comes with the built-in RedDotLogics logo. You cannot get rid of that. It doesn't matter what you do. If you have purchased the license, you do have an option to change your logo at any point. It will not come with the RedDotLogics logo at all, and you can just import your own logo in here. But if you wanted to permanently install your logo like how it's popping up on the red dot, we could do that for you. Just go ahead and email us and we'll be able to take care of that for you and show you how to change that. And let's say now this is a screen that I use a lot. And if you wanted to keep this screen for later use at some point. And also when you have your picture selected, you can see all of the tools disappeared because they don't apply to that. So as soon as I click my regular screen layer, it will automatically bring all my tools back again. Let's take a look. So if I stage right screen, for example, if this is instead of 104 by 104, I'm going to change it to 124 by 124. Let's say if this is my panels and I use it all the time in this configuration, I could just take that and add it to my presets. So right here, you just select the layer, add to the presets, and now you can see it's added it up here. And I can make as many clones as I want. Next time I restart my software, it's still gonna be here. So I can always use this for something else. And that's how you would add your presets. If you wanted to delete off the preset, like you don't have inventory of 4.8 mil screen and you don't ever see yourself using it, or even a 10 mil screen, let's say, I can just hit this minus button. I'll completely get rid of it from my presets forever. So you can also share presets, so you can save all of these presets to a file. And let's say I just save it on my desktop, call it RedDotLogics presets. Now that preset file, you can share it with all of your employees in the company. They can just go ahead and click load preset, load that file up, and it's going to populate with everything that you have. So if I was to just delete off everything here and then load presets, I just loaded up my company file. There it is. There's all my company files or company's screens that we own. It will just populate itself right there. So that way it's ready to use for your next project. And once you're done making your pixel map, for example, you can go ahead and click it save as a PNG file. Again, I'm going to save it on the desktops. Call this pixel map 1. You can save a project to work on this later on. So if this is unfinished, or if you ever see yourself needing to change this file again, I would always recommend saving this regardless. You might need to change something, you might want to change colors, you may have made a mistake. You can go back in this and edit it. So I'm going to call this pixel map 1. And then another sweet thing we've added in here was, you see file and export Resolume Arena file. Now what this will do is it will export XML file that you need for your pixel maps in the Resolume. So this, we can just call it again pixel map 1, save. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this. Are you sure you want to quit? Yes. So we'll bring up Arena. I know a lot of you guys use Resolume Arena, so remind me later for now. So you can just go to your output advanced settings, and we're gonna go into load advanced output. I have it saved on my desktop as pixel map 1. Click open, and there it is, exactly how I have it laid out in my pixel map. My output is pretty much set at that point. You can see image, iMac stage right, iMac stage left, and a DJ booth exactly where we had it placed and exact what size it needed to be in. Now you can go in here, input selection. I'm gonna select all of my slices, and if my video files are 1920 by 1080, and at least this way all my outputs are set. Now as far as the input goes, you can arrange them however you like. I'm gonna, let's see, set both of these back side by side, and my DJ booth will go here, for example. And my output stays the same because this is made for LED screen, so output does not need to be changed at all. This should be locked and should not be changed from whatever the vendor has shared with you as a VJ or as a festival or whatever you're using it on. So go ahead and save it and close, and you're good to go. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, please email us or send us a request through the form online, and we'll be able to help you out with that. Thank you for watching.